People are talking a lot about Princess Diana again during this lunchtime. There's a lot of news that is making people feel very interested and a bit worried. News stories in the newspapers say that she is spending a lot of time with a man named Al-Fayed. Dodi is the son of the man who owns a very big and very fancy store in London called Harrods. Diana and Dodi went on a trip together last weekend. They were on a big, beautiful boat in the Mediterranean Sea. Some of their other friends were there too. Because she is doing this, people are watching her very closely. They are looking at what she does and thinking about her choices. Some people think she is not making very good choices right now. This is all happening just one day before she starts a very important and serious trip. She's going to a place called Bosnia to help people. She wants to stop landmines from hurting people there. Landmines are dangerous things hidden in the ground. A lady named Caroline Kerr is going to tell us more about this whole story. People are wondering when the princess will be back at her house. Diana said that she is going to come home on Sunday. She was talking to a friend named Paul. She told him that she was feeling very bored. Even though she was on a giant, expensive boat, she did not feel very happy. She said that it was very, very cold when she went downstairs in the boat. But when she went up on the deck where the sun was, it was so hot that it felt like she was boiling. She was also frustrated because she was trying to send pictures out to people, but nobody was sending messages back to her. She felt like she was all alone even though she was in a beautiful place. It is sad to think that a princess could have everything but still feel like she had nothing to do and no one to talk to. She just wanted to be home and feel comfortable again instead of being on a boat where the temperature was always wrong. The princess explained that the only way she could get back to her home was to go through a city called Paris in France. She had to go there because Dodi had to do some work for his father. His father is the man who runs the Harrods store. Dodi needed to take care of some business there, so Diana had to go along with him to get a ride home. Her friend asked her how Dodi was treating her. Diana said that he was being very, very nice. She said he was spoiling her, which means he was giving her many beautiful and expensive gifts. He gave her a necklace to wear around her neck, some pretty earrings for her ears, and a fancy watch to help her tell the time. Her friend joked with her and said that she knew what would happen next. Her friend thought that Dodi was going to give her a ring next, which usually means someone wants to get married. Al-Fayed was a man who had very strong feelings for Princess Diana. A man named Michael worked for Dodi. Michael's office was very close to Dodi's office inside the big Harrods store. Michael said that Dodi came to see him and talked all about how much he loved the princess. Dodi told Michael that he really, truly loved her. He said that there would never be another woman in the whole world for him. He felt like Diana was the only person he ever wanted to be with. He was very serious about his love. It sounds like a story from a movie where a man finds the person he wants to spend his whole life with. He wanted everyone to know that his heart belonged only to her and that he was very happy to have her in his life. At this time, Diana was looking for a new path in her life. She felt like she needed to change things and go in a different direction. She talked all the time about wanting to leave England. She wanted to go far away. The main reason she wanted to leave was because of the newspapers. The people who write for the newspapers were not very kind to her. They followed her everywhere and wrote things that made her feel bad. She felt like she was being treated poorly by them. She thought that if she moved to a different country, she could finally have some peace and quiet. She wanted to be in a place where people wouldn't watch her every move or say mean things about her in the news. She was searching for a way to be happy and free. Many years ago, in February of 1981, something very big happened. The people at Buckingham Palace, where the Queen lives, made a special announcement. They said that Prince Charles and a young lady named Lady Diana Spencer were going to get married. They were engaged to be wed. Charles gave Diana a very beautiful ring. It had a big blue stone called a sapphire in the middle, and it was surrounded by many tiny, sparkling diamonds. When they stood in front of the cameras, they looked very happy together. They seemed like they were having a good time and were very relaxed. Everyone in the country was excited and happy for them. It seemed like a wonderful fairy tale was beginning and a big wedding was going to happen soon. A lady who knew about the royal family said that she believed Diana really did fall in love with Prince Charles. She thought that Diana was a very young and innocent girl back then. She didn't know much about the world yet. When she met the prince, she gave him her whole heart. There's a famous video of them when they were engaged. A reporter asked Prince Charles if he was in love with Diana. Diana looked very happy and was smiling big, but Prince Charles said something very strange. He said whatever in love means. That was a very weird thing to say. Diana looked at him as if she was confused. She probably thought, don't you know what love is? It was a sign that things might not be perfect from the very start of their relationship. The wedding of Prince Charles and Princess Diana was a huge event that the whole world watched. When they were saying their promises to each other, they used their full names. Diana said her name was Diana Frances. She promised to take Charles Philip Arthur George to be her husband. They promised to stay together through good times and bad times. They said they would hold on to each other from that day forward. They made these promises in front of God and all the people watching. It was a very serious and holy moment. They both said they would be true to each other. It looked like a beautiful dream come true as they stood there in the giant church, making these big life promises. After their second son, Prince Harry, was born, things started to get very bad between Charles and Diana. Their marriage was breaking horizontal and they were not happy anymore. It was not like what they thought it would be when they first got married. In fact, even before the day they got married, Diana had big worries in her mind. She wasn't sure if it was a good idea. Prince Charles also had big worries. His friends told him that it might not work out. They told him that Diana was too young and didn't know enough about life. They said she didn't really know who Charles was because he was a prince and lived a very different kind of life. It is sad that they both had bad feelings even before their big wedding day. Princess Diana lived with the royal family for 15 years. During that time, she learned exactly how they did things. She knew all their secrets and their rules. She was very unhappy many times during those years. She felt very sad and lonely. Her husband, Prince Charles, did not do much to help her feel better. She felt very miserable. But even though she was sad, she tried to be a very good mother. She wanted to look brave and happy for her two sons, William and Harry. She did not want her children to see how upset she was. She knew her marriage did not have much love in it. She also knew that her husband was seeing another woman named Camilla, and he didn't even try to hide it from her. In 1989, Diana decided to be very brave. She went to a birthday party for Camilla's sister. Both Charles and Camilla were there. Diana decided to talk to Camilla about the relationship she was having with Charles. Later, in a famous talk on TV, a man asked Prince Charles if he tried to be a good husband. Charles said that he did try very hard at first. He said he was a good husband until the marriage was so broken that it could not be fixed anymore. He admitted that they both tried, but it just didn't work out. It was a very difficult time for everyone involved because feelings were hurt and the marriage was ending. When Diana was at that party, she was very scared. The party was in a big house with many floors. She looked all over for Charles, but she couldn't find him. Then she realized he must be downstairs in the basement area. She went down there and found Charles and Camilla talking together. Diana told Camilla that she wasn't silly and that she knew what was going on between them. Diana was shaking because she was so upset and angry. On the way home in the car, Diana cried and cried. She was very hysterical. Her guard, a man named Ken, said this was all true. He saw her crying. Charles didn't say anything at all. This was the moment when Diana stopped hoping that things would get better with Charles. Diana was very smart. She knew that the people at that party were not her friends. They were friends of Camilla. It must have been very hard for her to go to a place where she felt like nobody liked her. She wanted to see the truth for herself, even if it hurt. She needed to know what was happening so she could decide what to do next. It was like she was starting a new chapter and needed to reset her life. She was tired of being lied to and wanted to stand up for herself. It takes a lot of courage to face people who are not kind to you, especially when you are feeling very sad inside. Later on, Diana went on television to talk to everyone. She was very honest. She talked about her divorce and how hard her life had been. She told the world about her health problems. She had a sickness called bulimia, which is when someone eats too much and then makes themselves get rid of the food because they feel bad about themselves. She also talked about being very depressed and sad. No one in the royal family had ever talked about these things on TV before. Diana said she did these things to herself because she didn't feel like she was a valuable person. She said eating a lot made her feel comforted for a little bit, like someone was giving her a hug, but then the feeling went away and she felt bad again. Diana had a big secret that she didn't tell her helper, Paul. She did a very famous interview for a TV show called Panorama with a man named Martin Bashir. One Sunday, she told Paul to go home and spend time with his family. Paul thought this was very strange because she usually wanted him around. The next day, when Paul came back to work, he saw that all the furniture in the room had been moved. Diana told him a little lie. She said she had a dance class and needed space to move. But really, she had moved the furniture so the TV cameras could fit in the room. She didn't talk to Paul for 2 days because she was hiding what she had done. Finally, she told him she had recorded the interview to tell her side of the story. Diana thought that many strong women in history had to go through hard times like she did. She said that being strong can make other people feel confused or scared. People wonder why a woman is strong and what she is going to do with that strength. When her interview was shown on TV, about 31 million people watched it. That is a huge number of people. Everyone stopped what they were doing to listen to her. They couldn't believe that a princess was being so open about her heart and her feelings. Most people liked that she was being so honest. They thought it was like a breath of fresh air because the royal family was usually very quiet and private. During that interview, the man asked if a lady named Mrs. Parker Bowles was part of why the marriage ended. Diana said something that people still remember today. She said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She meant that Charles was spending too much time with Camilla, and there wasn't enough room for just Charles and Diana to be happy. This was a very bold thing to say. Even though some people thought she shouldn't have said it, most regular people felt sorry for her. They liked her even more because she was telling the truth about how hard her life had been in the palace. After Diana died in a car crash on August 31, 1997, many people started to think that maybe it wasn't just an accident. Some people think she was murdered. These people are called conspiracy theorists. They think that someone wanted to keep her quiet forever because she knew too many secrets or was doing things the royal family didn't like. Her death happened in a way that seemed very strange to some people. They have many ideas about what really happened in that tunnel in Paris. They spend a lot of time looking for clues and trying to prove that there was a secret plan to hurt her. In the summer of 1992, something else very shocking happened. A recording of Diana talking on the phone was put in the newspapers. She was talking to a friend named James Gilby. The things they said to each other were very private. James seemed to really like Diana, and they talked about how some people were mean to her. Diana said that if someone wanted to be like her, they would have to suffer a lot. This was a very explosive moment. It made the Queen very worried. The Queen realized that all these stories about Diana and Charles were taking up all the news. It was making the royal family look bad, and the Queen wanted it to stop. The Queen knows that the monarchy needs people to respect them, but with all the fighting and scandals, people were just gossiping about them. The Queen is the head of the church, and she usually does not like divorce. But this time, she thought it was the only way to make things quiet again. She thought about it very carefully, and then she told Charles and Diana that they must get a divorce. She ordered them to do it so the royal family could try to be normal again. It was a very big decision, but the Queen felt she had to do it to protect the future of the crown and the country. After the divorce, Diana still lived in a big apartment at Kensington Palace. She also had her offices there. She was allowed to use some other fancy rooms in a different palace too. The police offered to give her bodyguards to keep her safe. She used them when she was traveling with her boys, William and Harry. But in the last years of her life, she said she didn't want the guards anymore. She wanted to be separate from the royal family and their rules. She wanted to feel like a normal person who could go where she wanted without a team of police following her all the time. Man who used to be her guard said he tried to give her some good advice. He told her that having guards around could be annoying and feel like they were in her way. But he also said that they had fun together and they gave her some privacy when she needed it. He told her that no matter where she went in the world, she would always be Diana. Everyone would always know her face. He warned her that she would always need someone to protect her because she was so famous. Sadly, Diana did not listen to his advice. He thinks that if she had kept her guards, she might still be alive today. The guard believes that the Queen could have changed what happened. He thinks that if the Queen had insisted and told Diana she must keep her security guards, then the accident in Paris would never have happened. He believes the guards would have made sure she was safe and that the driver was doing the right thing. It is a very sad thought to think that one small change could have saved her life. But Diana really wanted to be independent. She wanted to show the world she could take care of herself without the help of the royal family. In September of 1995, Diana went to a hospital to see a friend's husband who was having surgery. While she was there, she met a doctor named Hasnat Khan. He was a doctor who worked on people's hearts. Diana fell in love with him right away. Many people think he was her true soulmate, the person she was meant to be with. They were together for more than 2 years. Not many people knew about their relationship because they kept it very secret. It wasn't in the newspapers like her other relationships. She really loved him because he was a kind and normal man who worked very hard to help people. Her helper Paul said he used to help her see Hasnat Khan in secret. Paul would drive his car and bring people back to the palace. He would even have them hide under a blanket in the back seat so the reporters wouldn't see them. Diana just wanted someone to love her. She told Paul that all she wanted was a man to put his arms around her and tell her that he loved her. She didn't think that was too much to ask for. She was searching for a real, deep love that would make her feel safe and happy. She found that for a while with the heart doctor. Diana also went to a country called Pakistan. She liked it there very much and had happy memories of her trip. She liked the people and the culture. She even introduced her sons, William and Harry, to the doctor, Hasnat Khan. She did this because she thought she was going to marry him one day. She wanted her boys to get to know him and be comfortable with him. But Hasnat Khan was very worried. He was a private man and he didn't want the newspapers to write about him. He was scared that his life would be ruined if everyone knew he was dating the princess. Diana and Dodi Fayed actually knew each other for a long time before 1997. They met at fancy parties and movie events. They were friends first. In the summer of 1997, they started to love each other more. They spent time together in the south of France on a big boat. Their friendship became a very close relationship. When they came back to London, they made plans to see each other more. It seemed like they were having a very happy summer together. Dodi treated her like a real princess and gave her a lot of attention, which she liked very much. Dodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, was very sad when Dodi and Diana died. He wanted everyone to remember them together. He built a special place called a shrine in the basement of his big store, Harrods. He put pictures of them there. He also put a ring there that he said Dodi was going to give to Diana. It was under a piece of clear plastic. Mohammed told everyone that he believed the British Secret Service killed them. He thought they were murdered on purpose. He had many ideas about why this happened, and he wanted the whole world to hear his story. Mohammed Al-Fayed thought that the leaders of England were worried about Diana marrying a Muslim man. He thought they didn't want the mother of the future king to have a new family with Dodi. He even said that he was sure Diana was going to have a baby. But the people who were closest to Diana said this was not true. They said she was not pregnant and she was not going to marry Dodi. They said that in her heart, she was still in love with the heart doctor, Hasnat Khan. They thought Dodi was just a friend she was having fun with during the summer. Even though many people loved Diana, some newspapers started to be mean to her again. When she was married to Charles, they mostly liked her. But after the divorce, some editors thought she was trying to make herself look too good. They accused her of not telling the whole truth. She had to deal with a lot of people watching her and saying bad things. She used her time with Dodi to help hide her secret love for Hasnat Khan. She would call the doctor many times, even when he was busy working in the hospital. She even used fake names so the hospital wouldn't know it was her calling. The doctors at the hospital started to get worried. Diana would visit late at night, and they were afraid the reporters would follow her and cause trouble. Hasnat Khan realized that he couldn't have a normal life with someone as famous as Diana. He said the hospital was getting upset because her visits were causing too many problems with security. He didn't want to be in the news. He just wanted to be a doctor and help people. This made things very hard for their relationship, because Diana could never be a normal, private person. Diana grew up in a very fancy family. Her father was a lord. They lived in a very big house on a famous estate. When her grandfather died, they moved to a huge old house that had been in her family for a long time. Her family was very old and very important. Some people say her family was even grander than the royal family. Diana was very proud of where she came from. But even though she was from a fancy family, she was often very shy and didn't feel very sure of herself. She was a mix of being young and innocent, but also knowing a lot about the world. Diana talked about getting married to Hasnat Khan. She really wanted to have a daughter with him. She even asked her helper Paul to find someone who could marry them in secret. But when Hasnat found out, he thought the idea was silly. He told her she couldn't just bring a priest to the palace and get married like that. He thought her ideas were not realistic. This was a point where things started to break between them. He felt like she was living in a fantasy world, and he lived in the real world where he had to work and be a doctor. Dodi was a very charming man. He had a cool American accent and always wore very nice clothes. He treated Diana like she was very special. Nobody else had treated her that way for a long time. With the doctor, she had to hide and wear disguises, but with Dodi, she could be out in the sun and show herself off. She liked him a lot, but some people think she wasn't truly in love with him. They think she just liked the idea of being with him and having a fun, fancy life. She wanted to be married again and have more children, but she wasn't sure who the right man was. In July of 1997, right before Diana went on her trip to France, Hasnat Khan stayed with her at the palace. At that time, things were still okay between them. But after a few days of her being away, Hasnat felt like something was wrong. He tried to call her, but she didn't answer her phone. When she came back, they met in a park. Diana was not acting like her normal self. Hasnet asked if she had met someone else, someone from Dodi's group. Diana said no. But the next day, she told him that their relationship was over. Hasnet was very sad and told her that her reputation would be hurt by being with those people. In August, Diana went on another boat trip with a different friend. They went to the Greek islands. It was a small boat, so no one knew she was there. It was very quiet and peaceful. During this trip, Diana told her friend that she was finished with Hasnet Khan. She was frustrated because he wouldn't marry her or tell the world they were a couple. She also said that Dodi was going to give her a ring, but she was going to wear it on her right hand, not her left hand. The left hand is for marriage, so this meant she wasn't ready to marry Dodi yet. Some people think she was using Dodi just to make the doctor jealous. On August 20th, Diana went to the south of France again to be with Dodi. Pictures of them were shown all over the world. The pictures made it look like they were deeply in love. They spent 9 days together on a giant yacht. They seemed very happy. On August 30th, they flew to Paris. As soon as they got there, reporters were everywhere. The people with cameras, called paparazzi, were being very aggressive. They were pushing and trying to get close to the princess. It was very stressful for Diana and Dodi. They went to the Ritz Hotel, which is a very fancy hotel in Paris. Dodi went to a jewelry store to pick out 2 rings. He wanted them sent to their room at the hotel. Later that evening, they went to Dodi's apartment. The reporters were waiting for them there too. Dodi was very angry. He told his butler that he was going to ask Diana to marry him. He put the ring on a table by the bed and put some fancy champagne on ice to celebrate. They tried to go to a restaurant for dinner, but there were too many people with cameras, so they went back to the hotel to eat instead. To get away from the reporters, Dodi came up with a plan. He wanted to leave the hotel through a back door. He, Diana, and a bodyguard got into a black Mercedes car. The driver was a man named Henry Paul who worked at the hotel. Henry Paul had been drinking alcohol that night. He had also taken some medicine that made him feel different. He was driving very, very fast to try to get away from the photographers on motorcycles who were following them. They drove into a tunnel called the Pont de l'Alma. Inside the tunnel, the driver lost control of the car. The car hit a wall and then crashed into a big stone pillar. The car was going much faster than the speed limit. It was a terrible, violent crash. The car was crushed. People who saw the crash said there was smoke everywhere. Some photographers arrived and tried to take pictures instead of helping. Diana was hurt very badly. The doctors tried everything they could to save her. They even tried to fix her heart, but her injuries were just too big. She died at the hospital at 4:00 in the morning. The news of the accident spread across the world very quickly. At first, the news said she was just hurt a little bit. But then the reports changed. They said she had died. Everyone was in shock. They couldn't believe the people's princess was gone. Her body was brought back to England later that day. Many people were very sad and started leaving flowers at the gates of her palace. There were thousands and thousands of flowers. It was one of the saddest days in history. Everyone felt like they had lost a friend. Mohammed Al-Fayed was very angry about how the doctors treated Diana. He thought that if they had taken her to the hospital faster, she might have lived. He said the ambulance took too long. He also said they drove past other hospitals that could have helped her. Some people say a photographer actually spoke to Diana right after the crash, and she seemed to know what was happening. It is very hard to know the truth because everyone has a different story. The crash was a very complicated event, with many, many details that people still argue about today. Some people think the crash was a secret plan or a conspiracy. They say it was unlawful killing. They think it's strange that the cameras in the tunnel were not working. They also talk about a white car that might have hit Diana's car, but that car was never found. One man who might have been driving that white car was found dead later in a way that looked very suspicious. Diana had even written a letter months before she died saying she was afraid someone would cause a car accident to hurt her. This makes many people feel very spooky and worried about what really happened. It is true that some people in the government might have been unhappy about Diana's life, but most people think it is impossible that anyone would order someone to kill the mother of the future king. Even so, her death changed everything. If she had lived, she would have helped raise her sons. Instead, William and Harry had to grow up without their mother. At her funeral, her brother, Charles Spencer, gave a very famous speech. He promised to protect her boys and make sure they were raised with love and not just duty and rules. He wanted their souls to be able to sing, just like Diana wanted. A very famous singer named Elton John sang a song at her funeral called "Candle in the Wind." He changed the words to be about Diana. He called her England's Rose. He sang about how she lived her life like a candle in the wind, always being brave even when things were hard. The song made everyone cry. It was a beautiful tribute to a woman who was loved by so many people all over the world. Even today, people listen to that song and think about her and how much she is missed. In the end, it is important to remember that Diana's time with Dodi was very short. It only lasted 30 days. Her friend Paul thinks she was just using Dodi to make the heart doctor, Hasnat Khan, jealous. She wanted the doctor to see the pictures of her with Dodi so he would want her back. Hasnat even called her the day before she died to try to fix things between them. Paul believes that if Diana had come home to London, she and the doctor would have been together again. He thinks they were the real soulmates. It is a very sad ending to a very big story about love, fame, and a princess who just wanted to be happy.